Hey everybody, I'm back for video number 166 of 365. I'm Samantha and I am a licensed clinical social worker / therapist, and I am doing a video every day for a year, initially to get over my fear of public speaking and social anxiety, and I've pretty much conquered that. So I'm very thankful and appreciative of all of you for being here and witnessing this and being a part of the experience for me. So I appreciate it. So today I wanted to talk about and rant about a couple things. So I wanted to start with the fact that we've never been in a worse mental and physical health crisis in probably ever, I'm assuming. And I became a therapist for a lot of reasons. When I was little, I was attracted to the talk shows when they'd come on, and they'd always have a therapist or a psychologist come on at the end of the talk show. Like, I'm talking like Ricky Lake, like all the crazy, Geraldo, like Sally Jesse Raphael, I guess is what her name was. It just all these crazy people. And then of course, Dr. Phil and everyone, so I was always fascinated by what they would say at the end, like how they would solve this dramatic problem that was on the stage, So, and then when I was 10, I went into therapy myself. So I actually have a therapist, and I am a therapist. I've had a therapist since my divorce in 2014. And therapy for me is awesome. I love being able to just talk about myself for an hour to my therapist. I've had coaches over the years. I've had a team of mental health professionals and all kinds of coaches and mentors. So I love to learn. And so I've been in therapy since I was 10 years old, off and on, and had a lot of trauma when I was a kid and as an adult as well. So I know what it feels like to be a client and a therapist, which I love. So anyway, I wanted to help a lot of people, and that was my main goal, was to help people learn about themselves so that they could feel better no matter what was going on. And so when I first started doing therapy with people, I noticed there was a trend. It didn't matter how old they were, how young they were. They all had health issues. And, they all had kind of anxiety, depression, kind of the same things. It was just all the same patterns. Most of them had trauma of some sort, most, if not all. And trauma can be defined as, anything that really has changed a piece of you. That's how I look at it. It just totally turns a switch on or off, depending on what it is. And it just kind of makes you look at the world a little differently. And it shapes your brain in a way that, you probably didn't want it to be shaped in, and wires things differently. And so I wanted to help people that couldn't get help, really. There's so many people that can't get help. They don't have transportation, they don't have money, whatever the case is. So I started devising all these plans when I was a little younger, when I first started out, and I was just researching all of these things. And so everything I teach on my channel is stuff that I have been researching for 15 to 20 years. It's based on science. It's based on, all kinds of trial and error, and personally and professionally, things that I use, here's the deal about me. I've had to get really creative, because when you have a person, and this is what normal, people that are not therapists probably don't understand, because how would you if you're not doing this on a day-to-day basis? But when you have a person in front of you that you're making eye contact with, and your job is to literally help them feel better, and they're telling you something that you have no idea how to help them fix because it's so traumatic and they're in a chronic crisis, you have to get very creative. You can't just be like, here's a worksheet, do this worksheet. It doesn't work like that. So I always thought outside of the box. So everything that I'm teaching right now is something that I've had to work up the guts to even talk about, even with people in my life. I would bring things up with clients, of course, because they're there for transformation, not just change, but transformation. That's what I want for them too. I don't want to put a Band-Aid on the problem. I want real transformation. I don't want just coping skills to help you cope with life. I want you to transform. And so it took me a long time, as I've said before, to get the guts up to get on this channel and do this. So everything that I'm teaching is based off of this immense creativity inside of me that I had to cultivate over the years to be able to help the person that was sitting in front of me, crying and desperate and so scared about where their life was going. And they looked at me to help them. And so I had to do a bunch of research while in the midst of my own emotional turmoil at times. And so I had to learn a lot. And so I've, over the years, had to learn to simplify everything I was reading and learning. And it wasn't just the reading and learning I've been implementing for years. And so I'm here to simplify your life. I'm here to help you master yourself, master your emotions, guide your thoughts where you want them to go, how to direct them properly, all those things. Regulating your emotions, regulating your nervous system, regulating how your body reacts to things. It's all one, mind, body, spirit. It's all kind of one. And so we forget that. And there's theories about reality. There's theories, quantum physics. There's studies. There's this and that. Become your own evidence. I will give you information. It's your job to take whatever I say and go do your own research more and more and more on whatever excites you. And if you have anything that you want to learn more in depth about, that's what we'll learn in my membership someday when I create that soon. Pop it down in the comments. If you have some things that you really want to learn about, we will save them, and I will go deep in depth into some of these Neville Goddard teachings. I would love to teach out of some of these books and just get deeper into them. But here's the main thing. Like, I had a comment from an awesome subscriber asking about a toxic work situation. And without getting too specific and too in-depth, I just wanted to say, because being a therapist, I have to be really careful about what I say, because I can't get too personal unless we're like in a therapy session. So I have to be real careful about what I say, but for legal and ethical reasons. So when it comes, I want to just say everything that you're deeming as a problem, it's all the same. We fix everything the same way. It's all consciousness. Whatever you're conscious of, you're going to experience. So what I enjoy talking about the most is remembering there's a self one and there's a self two. Which one do you want to be? Right now you're self one. So self one has been programmed since you were little to think the way that you've been thinking. If you haven't deliberately changed your thoughts and your beliefs and what you assume about your life, yourself, other people, if you've never really shifted those, that's running your show in the background, always. So then there's self two over here that is happier and healthier and wants to have this great life. So self one is going to have to basically die and go to self two. And so it's like turning the frequency on a radio from 92.1 to 104.5. You can't hear 104.5 if you're stuck on 92.1. And so that's how the self one and self two work. It's like we're stuck on self one. We are addicted to our old thoughts, no matter what. Let's say this reality and LOA and all this is crap and none of it matters. We're still addicted to our thoughts and miserable. Half of the United States is headed towards Alzheimer's. That's the statistic, which Alzheimer's it's basically going to be considered diabetes type 3. So if half of us are on our way to Alzheimer's, and I heard Esther Hicks talking to, I think, a neuroscientist or something. I heard this little video today. I'm into listening to Esther Hicks right now. I don't know why. I was listening to her for years, of course, but she just is, her voice is calming. I don't know what it is. So I was listening, and she said that people are having Alzheimer's because and this is the point of this. It doesn't matter if you don't believe this or not. It's okay. It just got me thinking. She said that people are headed towards that because they don't want to live, but they're too afraid to die. So having Alzheimer's is like a slow exit out where they don't really remember. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm going to use that, whether that's true or not. So we're half living. Would you agree that you're half living? Would you agree that most of the time you're not happy? Would you agree that most of the time you're not working on self two? You're stuck on self one because you're noticing everything around you. Really think about that. This is turning into a rant. I can feel it. I kind of like it though. Self one sucks, right? Self one doesn't feel very good. So we got to do the work. We got to go internally. Circumstances don't matter, as they say. Everybody says this, circumstances don't matter. How annoying is that? They're right in front of your face. Of course they matter. Well, they matter for you to look at, for data. Say, this is data. What is this telling me about me? What is this telling me about me? Now, this is how I've chosen to live now. I chose to look at everything like this. Everything is happening for my benefit. Everything, no matter what. Everything that you're looking at is a stepping stone to get you to the next stepping stone, to get you to the next stepping stone. The stepping stones never end. I'll tell you that. The stepping stones never end, which means you're never going to get this done. So what are you in a hurry for? There's no hurry. There's no hurry. You're just being shaped and molded into the person that you're becoming, which is self 2. Or maybe there's a self 3 and a self 4 out there waiting too. I bet there is, because we never stop evolving. So you're going to deliberately practice what it would feel like to be self 2. That's teaching your brain and body and your being what that would feel like to be a new person in a new future. What would that feel like? Let's say you are just born. You just came here. You're an alien from another planet. You're an alien baby, or you're just a regular baby that was born. Every moment, let's say you're brand new. What would you choose to think? Let's say you know nothing. Let's call it the blank slate method. I don't think anybody's called it that yet. Let's coin that today. Blank slate method. So for 5 minutes a day, you're going to sit there. And this is your little hack that you can do. You can call it a hack. You can call it a technique. You can just call it, I'm doing this today. Sit and visualize what it would be like to be brand new right now, blank slate. What would you choose to think? It does not matter who you've been. It does not matter what's going on around you. You're going to create from a blank slate new thoughts, new emotions, new assumptions. What would that feel like? What would you be thinking? How exciting would that be in comparison to what is happening right now? Isn't this logical a little bit? Like, this isn't just woo-woo crap. This is real when you think about it. Because would you rather be miserable, or would you rather start fresh every single moment, whether you believe it or not? Do we want to be miserable? I think some people do, because they're so used to it that they're so fearful of what could happen if they were happy. So that's what you have to think too. It's like people say they don't want to be miserable or they don't want to be unhappy, but there's a belief underneath there that keeps them there. There could be the belief that I could lose this happiness. I don't deserve the happiness in the first place. This is just who I am. There's all these things, and we're addicted to the drama sometimes. So you have to be really, really honest. Like, what are you thinking about yourself? Like, what are you assuming about you? Because today I even had an aha moment where there's this thing in my life, and I looked at it, I thought about it, it popped in my mind, and I was like, oh my God, I look at this as a game. That's why this won't go away. This particular thing in my life won't go away, because I look at it as like this challenge to overcome or something, like a game, like it's supposed to be fun. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to play that game anymore. I got to look at this differently. It's like layers of an onion that we're peeling back. You're never going to be done doing this. This is a lifestyle. These aren't just techniques that you do every now and again. These are things that you can do every single day, no matter what, when you're feeling down, or just to prevent from feeling down. I'm all about prevention. It's like, why not get ahead of it instead of when we're in crisis and we're in the hospital? No. Because it's like when we're in crisis, then we're like, oh, how do you do this stuff again? What? I need to get a gratitude journal. And what do I need to do here? Spend 5 minutes a day visualizing your future self. What would you feel like? What would you be thinking? What would you be acting like? How would your behavior change if you just started fresh? And then I had another subscriber, I keep almost saying client, but subscriber, write about doing a gratitude practice. Gratitude has been shown, of course, many studies. It changes the structure of your brain. It creates. Gratitude is amazing. And like I've said in the past, Esther Hicks, of course, talked about gratitude. And so I like to talk about appreciation. That's my word, is appreciation and thankfulness. But I used to do gratitude, but it doesn't matter what word works for you. Just keep it, whatever you want. But Esther had said that gratitude was more like, I'm so grateful I have this like white knuckling something. There's like a different energy behind it versus appreciation. She's more appreciation. So when I heard that about 10 years ago, I was like, oh, okay. So it's whatever word resonates for you. I just want to put out there like what I've learned and what I do. But I do thankfulness every day. I am so thankful that every day. Now, another technique you can do too, another really fun thing to do is I am thankful for blah, blah, blah happening, but it hasn't happened yet. But you act like it's like past tense, like it's already happened. So that's kind of fun to do. Like, oh, I'm so glad, that this happened. I'm so thankful that this happened. I appreciate this so much that this already happened. Even though it hasn't technically happened yet, you're already giving thankfulness for it. And this is Thanksgiving month. So we gotta be thankful. We've got to remember that everything is happening for your benefit. What if you lived your life like that? I can't tell you how much happier I am by deciding that. Everything. I had a client today message me, been trying to get a hold of each other, trying to get something set up. And I really need to get some sessions with this family. And so we've lost touch the last couple of weeks. And so there's just a bunch of stuff going on. And I said, well, tomorrow I can make some time available. And it's, of course, Saturday. And they're like, well, I don't want to take up your weekend. And I said, you know what? Every day is like the weekend to me. Because that's how I didn't say the rest of it, but every day is like the weekend to me. And I'll add to that because I choose that. I choose to look at every day as wonderful. Every moment is wonderful. But I had to train my mind to think like that. You can't just, like people that don't believe that this stuff works, I promise you it does. You just haven't done it long enough. And when something happens, like the toxic work environment, for instance, every time you're there, like before you even go there, you're expecting it to be bad. So you're already in a state of expectation of it being negative, right? That's just how we'll define it. You're in the state of that, the state of ick, the state of yuck. Okay, so, and then when you get there, well, your expectations come true, let's say. So it's bad again. It has control of your state. And this is the point that I want to make for everything. This is why I believe everything is the same, is because we're allowing the circumstances outside of us, everything external, to determine how we feel inside. That means we are powerless all the time. No wonder everybody is miserable and sad, sick, mentally not okay all the time. I've seen it with clients. I've seen it with friends. I've seen it with family. I've seen it all over the place where people are just half living. We are not fully living. And this is why we're headed towards where we're headed towards. So we want to live, and living means we have to change our minds from the inside out. We do not let people affect us outside of us. We change us first. This is the commitment that I need from you. I don't need it. I'd like it if you want to comment down below. Comment. Say, I'm committed to changing. And what does that look like? What would that feel like if you finally changed? What would that look like? Like, how would you behave? That's different from how you're behaving now. How would you feel? And maybe you don't know yet. Maybe like there's just that little stepping stone that you need to take that's shaping and molding you. I used to tell clients years ago, I was like, every single thing that's happening is shaping and molding you into the person where you'll be able to see things that you couldn't see yesterday. And so we are blind to the things that, obviously the things we can't see, we're blind to them. We're blind to the invisible, of course. But what if the invisible could be made visible by changing our state? That's my point. The state creates. Every mental state that you have is creating, instantly manifesting around you all day long. And so do your own research by becoming your own evidence. Experiment with things. See what works for you. Gratitude. Write some things down that you appreciate, are thankful for, or grateful for every day. 3 to 10 things, whatever number, I don't know, 7.5 things, whatever you want to do that gets you in a state. The whole point is getting you into a state. It does not matter what you do. You don't have to practice gratitude. You don't have to meditate. These things are just ways in which to change your mental state, which is what creates. Because you've noticed, I'm sure, that when you're in a lower mental state, when you're not feeling so good, your day probably doesn't get much better than that. Or you're on a roller coaster. You're like, yeah, I'm feeling good about half the day, and about half the day I'm not. Why not feel good all day? This is what I've noticed, and I've noticed it in myself. I would watch myself the last few years. I would notice the roller coaster of emotion. I would notice how it went up and down on that emotional guidance scale that I'm linking below. If you want it, sign up for my email list and I'll send it to you. It's very, very valuable. You can see that we go through that whole list of 22 different feelings and emotions. You're going to notice that you're probably in a lot of those emotions during your day, but you're probably like mostly stuck in a couple areas, like baseline most of the time. And so you want to use that scale or not, just know where you're at and learn to direct your thoughts. When I say learn, I mean tell yourself, like over and over and over again, I've got to direct my thoughts towards what I want to direct them to, not to where they've always been. Because if you keep them on where they've always been, you're stuck in self one and you're not moving from there. You're going to notice the same things. You're going to be aware and conscious of the same things. Whatever is in your consciousness, whatever is in your awareness, that's why you're seeing it. It's active in your vibration. It's active in your frequency. You're going to see that play out. But what if you changed your frequency by changing your mental state? You're going to see other things that were once invisible. Now they become visible. Try it. You have to stay practicing this though. You cannot just do this for a day and then say, oh, this doesn't work. Or no, nothing's changed. I don't care if nothing changes for a year for you. Keep practicing. Because guess what? The circumstances outside of you will change in some capacity, but that doesn't even matter. What matters is your mental state, because we want the external circumstance to change. Only the sole reason, the sole purpose of it to change is that we'll feel better when it changes. That gives everything else, everything outside of us our power, which means we have nothing inside, which is why we feel powerless. A lot of people say, I feel powerless. It's because you've chosen to give all your power, all of your, here's my happiness. Take it, external circumstance. No. Remember yesterday, when we have those negative thoughts, we want to put salt on them like a slug so they dissolve because they're gross. They're disgusting. We don't need them. But you can examine them and say, where did they come from? Who told me this? Who taught me this? If you want to go deeper into that, examine yourself, study yourself. There's nothing more important to study than you, and watch how when your mental state shifts, everything else will shift outside of you. I committed to doing this channel for a whole year, every single freaking day, right? That is changing everything inside of me. We're almost 6 months into this thing, and I've changed so much, I can't even tell you. External circumstances have shifted a lot, but mostly it's inside. Inside out, I have shifted. And I'm still working on some stuff. We're never done. But I can't wait to see what's going to happen the full year in. You've got to commit to some time that you put into this. In fact, it's not even committing to a timeline. It's committing to forever. This is going to be your lifestyle. This is how you're going to live. You're going to tell yourself, everything's happening for my benefit. And if that's the case, then that means this thing outside of me right now is happening for my benefit. What is the purpose of this? What is this telling me about me? What's the diamond in the gym that I can pull out of this and put in my pocket? What is this? What is it telling you about you? Ask it. Ask this thing. Meditate with it. Look at it. Look at whatever this is as a blob of energy, and it's teaching you something. What is the blob teaching you? The person, the job, the child, whatever's got your goat right now, ask it. What is this about? What have I been thinking? What have I been assuming? All of this. But I do recommend going internally first. Your internal world is the most important thing to work on, because once you shift internally, you're teaching yourself and training yourself to direct your thoughts on what you want. It's not about ignoring what's going on, because as soon as you try to ignore, you're thinking about what you're ignoring. It's active. So it's like, I'm not going to think about that thing. I'm not going to think about that thing, but you're really thinking about it. So your awareness is still on it. So you want to withdraw your awareness a little bit and place it over here now. Direct your awareness, direct your thoughts. And it's going to take practice. This isn't like you can just right outside of the box, be ready to go. This is like learning to ride a bike, learning to drive a car, learning calculus. I don't know. I've always told clients, it takes 4 years to get, a 4-year degree. So you can't just do it overnight. You can technically, but I think we want the learning of it. So we kind of choose these situations that benefit us. So look at everything as a benefit. If this is in my life and it's a benefit, what is it benefiting me? Like what is it that is growing me and stretching me inside to become the person that I'm trying to become? But maybe my soul is already there and it's like ready for me, but I'm not going. And I think that when we have resistance towards growth, we get mad at ourselves. Like we don't feel good. We've got this internal struggle going on that we can't even identify. And it's about overcoming that really changes us. It's the overcoming and the challenge of it that just feels so good. And then you can look back and be like, oh my God, I overcame that. So whatever you're going through right now is this time in which you're going to look back at this time and be like, wow, I am just amazing. Look what I overcame. And I didn't think I could do that. I didn't think I could ever let this go or feel happy in a situation like this. But I trained my mind so hard to go hard on myself and commit to myself that I was able to do it. Wow. Like that's awesome. It's awesome, dude. Like you got to think like that. Because if you don't, you're going to stay in self one, right? You're going to stay right there. So you got to train yourself and remind yourself, this is a training. This is like a boot camp. Especially if you're in a chronically disappointing, frustrating, situation with other rascals, other people that are a little bit difficult to deal with, especially if you're dealing with that. Say, hey, I'm in a boot camp right now and this is awesome. I'm going to learn more about me through this. What is this trying to teach me? Because it's funny how things will change very dramatically. I have had experience with this toxic work environment deal with other clients and friends, and man, when we shifted the internal world, everything else worked out. And I know Esther Hicks would say, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So you never want to leave a situation unless you're unsafe. That's whenever we say, safety is a big thing. That's a whole other subject. But if it's just super frustrating and you're just I don't know whether I should stay or leave, and you got to make peace with where you're at first, make peace with yourself, and you're going to know exactly what to do. And it's going to be the perfect timing. You're going to know exactly what to do. Whether it's leave a relationship, leave a job, whatever it is, you're going to know exactly what to do at the perfect time, no matter what. And you're going to make peace because you're going to have peace within yourself. You just got to train yourself gently towards that every day, every moment. Remember, every moment is brand new. It's like a blank slate. You get to choose. You spend those 5 minutes hacking your matrix, hacking your reality. Call it you're hacking your own reality. I got to figure out what I want to even create. Figure out what you want. How do you want to feel? It's about the feeling. Remember, it's about the feeling. If you want a marriage or you want a new job or you want a baby or whatever, why do you want those things? What feeling would that elicit from you? And then start living your life from that feeling state. Visualize to create that feeling state. Open your eyes and stay in that state. We got to hold the state. We got to hold it. Can't let it go. We got to hold it. And then when you lose it, you just come right back to it. You say, okay, I lost it. It's okay. I can get back on the horse again. And let's ride off into the sunset. Let's go. Let's practice. You got to be your own hype person. I'll be here for you for, 200 more videos and more. Way more. So let me know below in the comments if you're struggling with anything in particular that you maybe didn't hear some certain things. You might want to listen again to this and see if there's anything I might have missed. Comment below if you need some extra help or anything. Let me know what you're committed to. Let's make a public commitment. What are we going to change? Are we going to stay in self one? because you're committed to self-one right now. You're committed. You're like, I have faith in self-one. We've got to change our faith to self-two. Your faith has to equal in self-two. It has to equal as much faith as you have in self-one, because you got a lot of faith in these old nasty thoughts. So you got to have faith in your new thoughts, because if you don't, you're in self-one and you get to choose. That's the beauty of this. You get to choose, and there's benefit for you in self-one. You just have to figure out what it is. Just have to look in there, and there's some gems inside that you can pull out. And remember, it's like layers of an onion. You're not going to fully get everything right away. You're going to have things that pop up. You're going to have days whenever you're down again. Just gently bring yourself back up. Use the scale below that. Just email or sign up for the email list. And I'll send it to you. And let me know if you have questions about anything. And I'll do my best to help you. But I just want you to feel good, feel wonderful. I want you to feel as good as I feel, because I've trained myself to feel this way. And I don't have everything I want in the world. I'll tell you what, my life is not perfect by any means, but I have manifested some outrageous things throughout my life ever since I was little. I didn't know I was manifesting things. I had no idea. But I've trained myself to feel so good and so much at peace that I want to help others do the same. That's why I'm here. That's the only reason I'm here. Not getting paid to do this yet. I will someday. But it's just fun and it's awesome. And I just want to keep things simple for everybody. And I just want you guys to feel as good as I do, really. That's really what it is. So I've seen too much suffering and too much agony, and I've experienced it myself. So that's really what it is. I've just seen too much suffering. So anyway, I will let you go for the evening. I'll quit my ramble. That was a rant and a ramble, and I kind of liked it. I needed to get that out, I guess. Well, I will see you guys tomorrow. You are loved. Remember to pass that on. And remember to appreciate yourself, because whatever you appreciate appreciates. So go hard on yourself and appreciate the people around you that need to be appreciated. Just start telling people you are loved and I appreciate you. I appreciate this and this and this about you. Get specific and watch what happens inside and outside. Okay? You got this. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.